Hey everyone, Michael Lunt here from eGame Studio, and I'm joined today by Colt Berry from Stafford Municipal School District in Stafford, Texas. Colt, it is a pleasure to meet you and have you on.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me.
I want to start with a softball question and ask you, like, what made you get into esports?
Yeah, so I've been in esports since I was little, since about I was in sixth grade when I started playing Minecraft. Right before then, I started playing Halo. So about Halo was like my era when I started playing Halo 1 and Halo 2. I started seeing like these YouTubers playing Minecraft Hunger Games and making content, things like that. And that's how I started like actually like looking into like what all is esports? How does esports happen? And that's where I found Counter-Strike, the game I played for years in collegiate, and that's kind of how I started my snowball in esports and learning what it is.
Cool. And so what made you take the focus of your interest in esports and bring it into education?
That kind of came from when I was playing in college. I started a program that was brand new. It was a varsity program. No one's ever seen it in Oklahoma. It was the first in Oklahoma to offer scholarships. So kind of when we started doing that, I started seeing the scene in education building. So our first program in collegiate and all across the nation was more and more college programs. I started seeing like, oh, hey, there's a need for this even in lower education from K through 12 and collegiate because it's helping me get my degree right now because I'm actually passing classes. I'm maintaining my GPA. I'm actually staying afloat in what I wanted to do because I was staying motivated to play, which was keeping me in my grades at consistent.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got your program off the ground and really kick it off at Stafford?
So Stafford actually recruited me directly for esports. So that was a little different. So they already had the kind of an idea of what esports was. They just needed someone to lead that direction. So they recruited me as an esports coach to just try to get the club going, as well as and then do video game design as a main teacher. But usually you have to approach the superintendent and or principal and tell them like, hey, I have this awesome club. I started this club with students. Give them a student count and tell them what the club's about. So the
Yeah.
usual roadmap is how can you show that person, that superintendent or principal, the value of the students playing video games versus other clubs like like chess club and or like the FFAs. How do you show the value of a video game club versus those? Right now we compete in 12 different titles, so about 50
Wow.
students, and we've competed against 12 different esports titles.
That's awesome. So like what's been the biggest challenge with the esports program since you've been part of it?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge I face right now in my school district isn't really just the approval of the program; it's the funding of the program. So trying to
Yeah.
find the funding and trying to find people to invest in our program, and as well as like the school district to give us money for the program. So we try to see what we can do to co-pivot those resources we use for video game design. What all resources can we use for video game design and esports at the same time to really make sure the value of the school is being utilized well? We travel to one event per semester, so it gets expensive,
Yeah.
especially being in Houston where we have to drive to Dallas all the time or Austin. It definitely adds up.
Yeah. So do you have to find other ways to fund it then in terms of like doing fundraisers and things like that as well?
Yeah, so we do the same thing as normal clubs do. So just like a football club or a football team does, what they do, like they have like PTA meetings and things, or like the art club does. We do fundraisers. So we do like T-shirt sales. We do tournaments. This year we actually were blessed enough to be partnered with Torchy's Tacos. They gave us 10% of all profit earned by that day. So that was awesome to have for the program. We're actually going
That's
to do
awesome.
the new one here actually in a couple months or in the next month. We're doing one with Chipotle for the same thing for 10% of the profit of that day. So the things like that are really ways I like to invest in our community and like try to find like, hey, who's what's a connection here that we can raise funds a different way than just T-shirts or car washes and things. What else can we do? And that business to school relationship works really well.
What's the biggest impact that you've made on the esports program in terms of like the effect it's had on kids?
So the biggest impact that you can tell is our in classroom results, so our GPA results, and that's
Okay.
something that I should have brought with me. I didn't have it on hand, but I basically just presented to our superintendent. So what I did was took all of our GPAs and our attendance profiles from our students for the 50 that I have. Originally we had 35 students, and now we have 50. But for the first couple of years, we started the program in 2022. So in 2021, I took all the data from the students of the 35 of 2021 and calculated their average cumulative GPA, which was a 2.9 cumulatively. And then from 2022, I did the same thing from the same year when we started the program, and their GPA went up from a 2.9 to a 3.1. And then I just did it again for this past year in 2023, and our GPA is from a 3.1 to a 3.3 cumulative of all the students. So in the classroom, you can tell that our GPAs are going up throughout
Yeah.
all the students. And that's one thing, that's the biggest impact we have in the classroom. So in our first year, we had 6 seniors. I sent all seniors to a school with an esports program and one on scholarship. And this year so far,
Wow.
we have 12 seniors, and 8 of the 12 have offers, and 3 of the 12 have full ride offers.
That's incredible. See, that's like part of this that probably some people don't realize is there are scholarships out there. You know, you think of people going for like music scholarship, a football scholarship, basketball scholarship, but esports seems to be one of those things that people maybe don't realize is available to them. So that's awesome to hear those stats. Do you know how your GPA improvements compared to other programs like football, basketball in your school? Is it comparable? Is it better? Is it like where does
Uh,
it sit?
that's something I don't have the exact stats on. It's actually when I presented my GPA to the superintendent. He was like, our student superintendent. He's like, no other sport keeps track of their GPAs like this. He's
Oh,
like,
okay.
you might have just set the bar and the requirement for all sports at our school. So some coaches might hate me. So sorry if that happened. But he's like, I'm gonna start making this a requirement for all sports every semester to report me to their GPA of their students.
Right there is another impact that you've had on the school as a whole, right? It's like now you're presenting data that's not really been presented in the past.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of set that bar, as you said. So I think that's awesome. Um, so since we're talking about like how it's benefited the kids, I was curious, like what kind of pushback did you see from the parents of those students initially, and how were you able to set their mind at ease that this isn't just kids playing games at school, which I think has already got its own stigmas attached to. Like, how did you get around that?
Yeah, so that is one challenge that is actually really difficult. So it just depends on the parents. Some parents are like really, they're all gamers. They're like, oh, I play Call of Duty already. Like, I love my kid playing with me and everything. And there's other parents who are like, there's no value in my student playing video games. So that's where I kind of come in and kind of talk to them just one on one, or I have a phone call with them, and I basically show them like I basically pinpoint the social emotional learning of students. So social emotional learning with students' engagement to other students, as well as expanding their social groups from just they're not the preppy jock kids. They're not just the nerds. They're not the band kids. They're a student with multiple friends and multiple different friend groups, and they're being social. So basically, when I talk to the parents, I'm like, hey, this is the one main focus is like I'm helping your student be more social and be more engaged in the school, as well as I try to show them the collegiate impact and then the career impact. So I show them like why can't they get into college and how do they get into college and get on scholarship, as well as what career paths can they do. Graphic design, can they be an esports coach, a teacher, things like that is what I show them, and that kind of really pivots their mindset is that they have a career outside of just playing video games.
Speaking to coaches around the country, one of the consistent issue that's coming up is getting the students to commit to the esports program in the same way that they would commit to a traditional sport.
Mhm.
And they're not having the kids aren't showing up for practice on time, or they're leaving practice early, so they're almost like fitting it around their social life, if you will.
Yeah.
And also district support as well. So, not just having that initial cash injection at the beginning, and buying equipment that needs to last 7 years or so, but instead like actually having constant support. How do you curb those problems yourself?
Yeah, so that is an amazing question because a lot of coaches in esports don't come from a traditional sports background. I used to play soccer in a high advanced soccer league, and then I actually I was on going on scholarship for a first year as a freshman on soccer. So the traditional sports have been a huge background and huge backbone of my coaching career, and as myself as a person. So one thing I see a lot is it's in programs and esports programs, they're giving their students too much freedom, which they want their program to be successful. So they want, the student counts, they want to be able to compete, they want the best players to compete. But there's a point in where there are teams where you have to just make the call and say, hey, I don't really care about my team's results right now. I don't care. I want the students who are going to actually care and be involved in the program and be dedicated to the program. So the issue is you're going to have players who, come to practice like, hey, this is a waste of time. I don't want to be here. This team doesn't matter to me, and he's just showing up to play games and things of that nature. And that coach is letting him because he's the best player on the team, so he helps them win games. There's a point in where you have to just cut that player out and say, hey, if you're not going to be dedicated, showing up to practice, doing the things you need to do, that you need to take that loss and go with it, because you're going to build an all-around better team that's actually going to show up to practice and be here for games and be here for, dedicating for events, without that player being there. But you have to set these standards across all teams, just like normal sports do. If somebody for the full team doesn't show up for practice, they don't play that day. So for my athletes, for example, we have twice a week practice, once a week mandatory. If you miss the mandatory practice, you better have a really good reason, because if not, I'm not letting you play. If I have a subs for a reason, so I have 2 subs on my main Valorant roster, and I rotate them in constantly. So if you don't show up to practice and a sub's showing up to practice more than you are, and he's been more dedicated watching film on our days, and he's in class practicing more, I'm going to play him over you because I can see his work ethic. If you don't come talk to me and tell me that you have personal things going on and you're making up excuses that aren't going to be really good excuses, they're not going to let you play. And that's kind of just the approach you have to take with this. And it could kill a program, but that's kind of how you see if your program is going to be substantial or not based on your students.
How have you in the past approached things like on-site training and also remote coaching?
Yeah, so on site, I usually have myself and my assistant coach. We have Overwatch and or Rocket League at the same time. So he'll take over Overwatch and I'll take over Rocket League. But I'm usually managing 2 teams at a time in Rocket League, so 6 kids, all on one row or 2 rows separate from each other. So I'm going back and forth walking. Same with Overwatch, is usually he's on 2 different setups. He has to go from one team, gold team, to red team, and we're just behind him with a wireless headset, so he can speak to them through Discord, and we're just watching their screens behind them. If we can't use our own personal setups at our homes to be in the game lobby with them, usually like for Valorant, we're in the coaching role for them so we can spectate in game with them. We're usually on a Discord call on our phones, or on our laptops, just having the kids share screens. But usually it's just like one kid can share a screen, so we watch one POV.
What type of tools did you look at before landing on Game Lens? Did you find anything else that was ticking boxes for you?
No, I never really. I looked into a little bit about remote things like that, like screen sharing softwares. Just Discord screen sharing, and then other screen sharing softwares where I don't remember the names of them. Where I could just have the kids download them and then set them up, and then I could like for example, like Google Chrome has a screen share one that we tried, but that one was just extremely laggy and was not up to par with anything. The one we had to download on our computers was just such a long setup, and I couldn't get every high school kid to download it on his PC and then set it up. It was just a whole long
Yeah.
process. So we tried other ones. So that's why we just stuck to in-game spectating. But even then, we only see one perspective. We had to flip back through perspectives, and we missed something.
How's using Game Lens now like changed the way that you coach then?
So it helps remotely as well as for new coaches as well. So we can see all screens perspectives on one web browser tab on our laptops without having to download Valorant, have to download League, have to be in there. Because I've tried to get him into like a Valorant game before, and his laptop just can't get into the game to see it. And when we do
Yeah.
Discord, he just can't. It's just laggy on Discord. So with this tool, it's changed our way because I can just send him. I'm like, hey, this is your middle school team today. They're playing Rocket League. And I just send him the link, and you can coach them through just a web browser and not have to be on Discord, not to get in the game with him. Even when recording, you get to just record that one tab. And when we do VOD review, I get to actually see everyone's perspective. So I'm like, hey, what happened here? I just pause it and I go back and look at everyone's screens. And I can tell that one player is out of position on Valorant, or he overextended on Valorant when we would have missed that originally, because we get to see every little detail all at once.
Okay, so you're even using Game Lens in like a recording capacity as well, like through some third party tools as well, which is it's a cool way to do it. So what about your teams as a whole then? Like have you like what improvements have you seen with your players in terms of their performance, the dynamics on the team, the communication, like maybe even mood? Like
Yeah.
what's Game Lens helped change about that?
So a lot of them have been like, okay, this has actually made a lot of things easier for our VOD review. So let's keep using it. So now it's ingrained into us every time we get on. I send them a link, and then they log into the link and everything. So it's helped them, really realize like, hey, I can make mistakes now and be more open about them. It's like coach can see them no matter what. So stop lying about them, because he can see the mistakes. So just be honest about it, as well as it's helped our improvement because we're able to VOD review with that. And our Valorant team, it basically a lot has affected us a lot. We're able to VOD review and actually dig down into the little mistakes that's causing us to lose championships. We're one of the top teams in the state of Texas for Valorant, and we consistently have to keep placing third and second place. We can never beat this one team, these 2 teams in Texas, and we're trying to figure out why. So this really helps us get down to the nitty gritty of like, here's the little mistakes we're making. If we can change this, maybe we can actually flip the script this year and win a state championship and stop placing third place all the time. So I think it's
Yeah.
really going to help us in May when we go to state in San Antonio, that you'll really start seeing those changes from fall to spring, because we started using game lens more, and showing them all the little details that they're actually messing up on. So then they'll quit to make those mistakes and quit creating a habit of, being like, overextending, over peaking, using utilities the wrong way.
You mentioned there winning some state champions, but like the championships, but what's next for your team?
Yeah, so right now we just started the spring season of TechSF as well as HSCL. We're reigning HSCL Apex Legends national champions. So I'm hoping in the spring, as well as we just won the Winter Blitz HSCL national tournament, over 500 schools nationally for Apex. So I have the number one best Apex Legends team in high school across the nation. In the United States as well as the state. We won state as well in the fall. So I'm hoping that team can bring back-to-back state championships and back-to-back national championships for that roster, as well as we're all traveling to San Antonio in May for the TechSF state championship, May 3rd to the 5th. So that'll be at the new E-Flag Stadium in San Antonio. And we already have Valorant qualified, Apex Legends, Street Fighter, qualified, and a couple Smash Bros players qualified. So that's our next big event that we're trying to attend, and hopefully we can bring home some state championships with that. And actually, the number one best program in Texas in
Yeah.
nationwide. So we're getting there. And we have a couple of heavy hitters like Independence High School and Hebron High School and Tiger High and things like that. So there's a bunch of other schools out there that are really amazing programs across Texas. But I'm really trying to be that next big hitter with our partnerships and things like that, as well as we have an event we're hosting that we're going to have about 12 to 15 different high schools there, and it's sponsored by Alienware and Tancha School Management. I have a screen printing company coming out with t-shirts, as well as the Houston Outlaws are going to be there shooting some content, which is a professional organization here in Houston for esports.
Cole, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man, and learning about your program. Is there anything that you want to tell parents, other coaches in the
Yeah.
space and students before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, just always like parents, just if your kid has a dream, like see it through, let them, explore, give them a time frame to like, hey, if you want to be successful in this time, put the work in and do it. I don't mean, they're just being lazy. Don't let them be that, but let them follow their dream to an extent, and, give them support, as well as coaches in high schools, other coaches and other high school programs. Give your students that support. Give your coaches that support for this program, because this program does change kids' lives. It gives scholarship opportunities. It gives career opportunities that kids would never have seen before. It gives them a passion. It gives them a drive to want to be in that scene. It makes them want to go to school. One thing I didn't mention about is our attendance rate. Our attendance rate has skyrocketed over our average days before the program started. Missed days was up to 8 missed days per student. Now we're down to 3 missed days per student. So it makes these kids want to go to school. It makes them want to learn. It makes them want to make friends. It makes them want to actually be successful in life because they're passionate about it. So just parents and everybody else, just let your child chase those dreams, and manage those dreams, but let them explore that, because it can be very beneficial, just like myself.
That's a great way to end this. So thanks very much for your time, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Michael, for letting me be here. Appreciate it.
To everyone watching, I really appreciate you for spending some time with us today. If you're an esports coach and would like to share your experience with running an esports program with us, feel free to reach out to us at info@egame.studio. We'd love to hear from you. Keep an eye out for our next video, and until then, let's keep leveling up.